Hey guys, Scott here for Mr. Mac, where we normally do Apple education and device repair. I'm excited today to showcase a portion of our Mr. Mac podcast that we did along with The Rural Genius, a show that runs on KWVH 94.3. You may have already heard it if you're in the Wimberley, South Austin, or Kyle area. And if not, check it out. It's really great. It's got hosts Dr. Hilda Carpenter and Dixie Noonan, where they find tech in unusual spaces. And the show is a tribute to one of the probably most unusual spaces to find tech at all. And that was at the bottom of 40 feet of flood water that hit Wimberley and devastated the community over 10 years ago in 2015. When I moved to Wimberley in 2017, they were just rebuilding, coming together in a way that impressed me as a newcomer to the community. And this is a little bit of history, just a piece that I wanted to treat with a lot of respect. I'm honored to have been a part of walking through the memory of this process. And if you want to check out the whole show, you can do so on kwvh.org. And if you're inspired, check out their donation page too. It's a station that was birthed in response to the natural disaster of the flood and keeping the community safe and alert from future potential harm. It's something that we've seen a need for even more recently. And as a nonprofit radio station, they can really use your help. Thanks for watching.
The scones are way better.
We also have Scott Baker with us today, who has come with all kinds of ways to record the show. And why don't you set this up for us? First of all, let me tell you that the radio station started because of the Memorial Day flood 10 years, or about 10 and a half years ago. So Scott has some show and tell for us, and we're going to have to walk it through because people can't see you until we get the video out.
That's right. We'll get the video out. And can I say one thing, though, about getting yourself presents?
Yeah.
Because my mom officially sent out like a text message on like December 21st and was like, hey, what if we do a second part of Christmas where we just give ourselves what we want?
Oh.
I was like, wait, we're making this official?
Ooh.
I
Because
kind of like
Mom's
that.
been doing it for years.
Right.
And my wife's been doing it for years. And they've now made it into like there can be no more shame when they open the gift because this was what we planned.
You know what? I love that idea.
Listen, we start instead of Secret Santa, we called it Selfish Santa. But which I don't like that name. So we're going for Selfie Santa next year.
Selfie Santa. I
That's
like
more
that.
fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, and we did it. A lot of us got, the thing that we were worried that somebody else wouldn't get for us. And
Right.
then it just really brought an interesting closure to Christmas.
And you
I
didn't
love
get
it.
two of them. I do too.
Well, so did you have, because when I buy myself my Christmas presents, I have other people.
Do you put other people's names on them?
No. I put my name goes up. I have other people wrap them for me. So I do pass them off usually to my daughter because
good.
my husband refuses to wrap. So I usually pass them off to my daughter and go, here, wrap them for me, and then here, put these in my stocking.
Okay, sure.
Right, and then it's a little fun.
You're very clever.
So did you wrap your own, or did you?
So this is because I was a little unprepared for it at this point, and so I had bought a bunch of products from one of our suppliers called Ridge, and they sent me a free, I don't have it, but they sent like a free bonus with it, and it was already in a wrap in a bag, little
Okay.
Christmas bag. It was one of those keychains that you put all your keys in, and then it flips out like a Swiss Army knife.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was neat. And
So
I used
don't
it, and I'm
travel
using it
with that.
right now. Well, not the knife part, but if you're loaded with keys, it's usually pretty safe.
Yeah.
And my wife was just giving me a hard time for having, basically being like a janitor. I just like collect these keys. I don't know how it happens. I just collect keys and more keys. Do y'all deal with this?
Yes. And then I look down and
And
I
then
go,
you're like, where'd all these keys come
where
from?
did these even go to?
Yeah.
Periodically I have to take all the keys to the places and just check and make sure and
we
get
were
rid
doing
of.
something, and Steve says, "Okay, well, be sure that the door is locked." So
Yeah.
I go on the outside and I pull out my house key, and it doesn't work. And I said, I don't have a key that opens my house. This is just wrong. I don't know
that's
when or where
funny.
that happened. And it wasn't, it was, a regular slog house key.
Right.
And
But you had all the keys except the one you needed.
couldn't get, if it was locked, I would.
All right, I thought I was the only one. Rachel made me feel like I was the only one in the whole world.
No.
But you guys know what I'm talking about.
No.
Yes.
I end up like a janitor. And
Sure.
like I said, periodically I have to clean that off.
So what I have here, I got two kind of systems going. So number one, I wanted to brag on the iPads,
Yes, I have my iPad.
specifically the iPad
M5.
Pro M5.
And it
that's a
is-
nice, look at that case on there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
baby.
pretty
I got
looking piece of
the
hardware.
Apple keyboard case thingy
Yeah, and so Apple's Magic Keyboard comes with it. You can fold it
No,
out,
you have
so you
to
got
pay
the
for
tilt.
it.
Oh, sorry, yeah, not with it. You do have to pay for it. It's pretty pricey actually with the Apple as they are with their accessories, but you can see why. Look at the build quality and
It
look at
is
the
build
aesthetic
quality.
That's really nice.
And it also has, you know how your outlet is on this side? It also has in the keyboard a way to put it on the other side.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
baby.
what I'm loving about what I'm looking at here, I had an old iPad, like one of the first generation ones, and I had bought an aftermarket case that had a keyboard attached to it, right? And it was always clunky and falling off and never quite seeing right,
Right.
whatever. And so this looks like it's almost part of the iPad.
Exactly.
And it is so smooth. You can still access all your ports on the side of your iPad, which is huge,
Yep.
right? And the keyboard itself is nice and thin. That's lovely.
The only thing that I have found is there's an off switch right here in the top on that F key thing. And so if I'm reaching for something and it'll
Yeah, accidentally turn it off. Has a downside, but
I actually had this same setup with my old iPhone iPad that I got about 6 years ago, and I loved it. I mean, it was just really nice, and the magnet on it is hard enough that it doesn't just slip off.
yeah, that's pretty amazing too.
It's awesome.
And so what the big breakthrough? So I have an iPad Pro M4 over here.
Yeah, I have an M5.
I know, mine's basically paperweight at
beat
this
you.
point.
I beat you.
It's basically this is the old
never
decrepit
beat
iPad Pro M4. And the big change, so there was a lot of people kind of grumpy about it because they wanted more of a difference. And this has kind of been true for each iPad. They're like, oh, it's not that different. And this is true for like Apple products across the board.
Yeah.
And not just Apple, because we've reached this state that there's a tagline out on the internet that says, has the iPhone peaked?
Ah.
Okay, right. Have we because at the very beginning, big jumps like just BlackBerry to iPhone, huge
Right.
jump.
Right.
iPhone 2, you could only run one app at a time. Now you can do all this different big jumps, 2, 3, 4, and it kind of slows down until we hit another big escalation in terms of a generational change. And so the iPad 4 didn't have a ton of differences, although it was a lot thinner, which I asked for. I was like, the iPad, pretty thin. Let's make it even thinner. Everyone seems pretty grumpy unless they can basically achieve Iron Man 2, like Tony Stark's just piece of glass.
Right.
Like he's just got this
I
piece
just
of
want the
glass that
hologram.
yeah, exactly. Give me the hologram thing. We'll get there. We're not there yet. But until then, the other thing that it did bring out that I was really excited about, and the reason that I got it is because it has multi-cam live recording.
Oh,
so
well,
we
you know what? I
have
didn't know
3
that.
different iPads to include your iPhone 17 Pro Max here, Hilda,
Uh-huh.
as one of the cameras, and it's recording 3 and up to 4 different angles at once. So that's a really neat feature that I have not seen any hardware be
Wait,
able to achieve.
Can I do that on mine?
You absolutely can. We gotta get you 3 more iPhones to really make use of the multicam. So I think we got an iPhone 17 Pro Max. Let's go ahead and get the 17 Pro
What
and
I'm
then the
looking
17
at
regular.
it sort of looks like a Zoom call, except it's clearer, and it's very dynamic.
It is like a Zoom call with each angle, and basically it is designed and is giving us the ability to shoot several different angles around
Right.
this product in front of me, which is the original Mac Mini.
Oh,
Okay,
remember
can
that
I
one.
just say this before we leave the camera part
Oh my
of
God!
this?
Look at that dirt coming
Yeah,
out.
we're gonna have a
Tim's
lot of
gonna
that.
kill us.
I brought some paper towels because I
Okay.
knew this would be messy. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah. So
Dixie,
the camera part of this. So my undergraduate degree was basically radio, television, film.
Okay.
And I did a lot of stuff on the more video film side of things,
Neat.
right?
Awesome.
But this is back when you had videotape, right?
Right.
Digital editing was just coming online,
yeah.
and they could only digitize a couple of minutes worth of footage because it take up an entire hard drive,
Right.
right? And so what's crazy to me about this, because you'd have to shoot. So you'd shoot, this scene from this angle. Okay, now move it. Let's go to this angle. Shoot again. All right, now let's go do it again and shoot it in. And now we've got to prune all that down
Yeah.
before we can even edit it,
Yeah,
right?
sure, absolutely.
This, you have an iPad that you can have 3 cameras going. It makes anyone like an instant film or video
Yeah.
producer, or could be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you get those 3 angles going, so you could just start cutting and splicing that video that to me is amazing that
I
we
totally
have
agree with
gotten
that.
to that point
I
in my
totally agree.
lifetime.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
And I minored in film in college. So I got to take a documentary film class, and that's when I really learned the workings of the editing process.
Right.
And I remember going through the tedious process of like transcribe. Our professor had us transcribe all the footage of the interviews that we had. And then you go through the transcription and you basically like piece together a story. So you just like edit text and take it out, but then you got to go re-edit the actual footage
Yep.
to match your
that.
transcript. Now, this stuff will just transcribe it for you, and you just edit it like a Word document, and then it'll edit the footage for you automatically.
What?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
amazing.
Oh, my
That's only been around
stars.
for a couple of years, and it's about to get really good with AI. But I'm excited to take advantage of that because, yeah, editing, like you said, anyone can pretty much make a really impressive film if they have a couple
That's
iPhones
amazing.
and an iPad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is amazing. Okay, so we
Okay,
have-
sorry, didn't mean to derail you.
No,
there.
no, I
No,
appreciate
I
it
was
because
good. That was good.
I'm excited to show off the technology of new and then also the technology of old. We're probably gonna hear some snap, crackle, and pop here as I take apart this
As long as it
original
doesn't
Mac
send
Mini.
electric out and burn down the station.
I have two computers here. One, the original Mac Mini, 2006, and then over here to my right, I have a PowerBook, G4 PowerBook.
Oh, a PowerBook.
Yeah, so this is
I
before.
had that sucker.
Yeah, I mean, this was before Apple. So Apple's gone through pretty much 3 generations of processors. The first one, and the name PowerBook comes from PowerPC is the name of the chip, the
Right.
processor that was in there.
I remember that.
In 2006 or 5, 6, they left the PowerPC chip and then went to Intel. And so that's the Mac Mini that I have here. I'm about to open up this Intel Mac Mini. And then, of course, let's see, you got an iPad M5. So
Right.
5 years ago, they left Intel and started producing their own
their
Apple
own-
Silicon
right,
chips.
Right.
Which I would not be able to really take apart because there's nothing in them besides one single logic board, and then that's it. But these older devices have a lot of different components, so I'm excited to finally crack this one open.
Look at all those ports in the back.
Yeah, tons of ports. We got DVI, we got large display ports. We got, I think there's probably going to be a FireWire in here, USB 1.0. Yep, there's a FireWire. That was an Apple standard. And then lots and lots of dirt. Because the background story, maybe as I'm working on this, you guys can share stories of the floods because these were given to me by Doc Vickers, the late, great Doc Vickers. And I want to take a moment just to appreciate him because when I came to town, there was a couple other players in town that were in the computer space, and they were all super kind to me. Showing
Yeah.
up, coming here.
I remember you and Doc
Had the
talking
Apple
together.
background. Yeah, absolutely. Me and Doc got to sit in here. We talked about doing, might have been on this show, doing a South by Southwest tech conference.
It was on this show, right?
Yeah, and I, as South by Southwest is coming up here in a couple months, I still think it'd be cool to do a tech version of that in Wimberley.
Right.
But he had a nonprofit after the flood. I think it was called Laura's Hope.
Yep, that
which
was
is
his
a tribute
first
to his wife.
Right.
And I think she passed away. And he made a nonprofit for it. And that nonprofit was basically to help people who had computers that were annihilated in the flood. And he would take these apart and take the drives out and then restore their data.
Right.
That was his specialty. He was a data restoration.
He was a
Wow.
data and I remember because people were like, all my photos are on this PC or whatever.
Yes.
And
Right.
everything was lost. In the flood in 2015, May 2000, or I guess it was Memorial Day 2015, Susan Raybuck, our wonderful mother of the station, had started trying to work with people to get a station that would actually report news around here. And at the flood, what was interesting about that is no one knew what had happened. Because you had San Marcos, they
Yeah.
didn't know. You had Austin, they didn't know. San Antonio didn't know. And everyone was caught in this horrendous flood that caused death and tremendous millions of dollars of damage. So, yeah, Doc would take. And I remember him talking about it. You know, this guy came in and, you know, basically water still coming out of his machine and dirt. And I'm looking at you do this with this sweet little Mac and, oh my gosh, there is
And
a
the
lot-
amount of dirt that's coming out. And I want to say this because we're about to probably ooh and ah over the amount of sand that is still in this thing. And not going to recover any of the data here. These have been considered trash at this point by those who donated. But The amount of sand that has already come out of this is 2 to 3 times whatever's in here right now. I mean, when it was handed to me, it was pouring out, and ever since I've been moving it around, it's been pouring out.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to taking these apart and getting a little bit of history out of here.
Well, and you think about that time frame, right? So in 2015, the cloud was not as ubiquitous as it is today.
Right.
Yeah, this is
So,
a good
like,
point.
I know I did not have my photos on the cloud until after that. Because we moved here January 2016, so almost exactly 10 years ago. Probably almost to the day. Like, we're getting really close. But it wasn't until after we moved here, and actually I'd met Scott before I started to get everything backed up to the cloud. And so in 2015, you got to imagine a lot of these people, when they lost their devices, they
gone.
lost all of their kids, because all of my kids' photos have been digital.
Right.
Macy,
Because you're so young.
I don't know about that, but Macy was born right about the time that cameras went digital.
Right.
And so one of the first things someone gave us was a digital camera. And so we just would take a gazillion pictures of her with that. But I had things backed, and I still do. I don't have all of their baby pictures on the cloud. I still have some backed up to hard drives
You
in
need
my
to
house.
put those things up there.
Right. And so you think about, how much people probably lost in 2015 in those floods. That's not insignificant. And so Doc Vickers was able to collect any of that.
Gosh. Looks like we're at the beach. Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness, there's like rocks in that thing.
Yeah, I mean, completely chock full is what we're
Good
seeing here.
heavens.
Again, you can check out the video after this is done, but this thing is completely full of history, we'll say, and a really tragic time in Wimberley's history. But one that when I moved here, I had known of it because I had spent some summers here as a kid. So I was familiar with the community in that way. But then when I came here, I mean, it was Wimberley Strong. It was the water tower over there, HEB. It was the community that was in the midst of rebuilding and doing so in a really brilliant way that showed the community. And then 94.3 or 94.1 at the time.
It was
showing up.
94.1 when we
Yeah,
first started. Right.
KWVH. And you can see here, this was what Doc would be recovering, is the hard drive. It's just this component right here, and it almost certainly, I would love to see if he thought he could pull this apart. I would take him some of my tougher ones. Very, very light damage is fairly easy to recover with software. And so we would run that. It's not very expensive. Software is about $100, and we could recover a lot of that. But I would take him stuff, and I'd be like, I don't like this thing is destroyed, and I don't think anyone can get it.
And he would get it.
He would, yeah. He'd lean in and be like, I can take
Bless
care of
his
this.
heart. He was such an amazing man. Brian, God bless you, Doc. We miss you.
Yeah, so you can see, so these are the main components. We have at the top, which Apple is very interesting to me to actually see one of these. I haven't taken apart this original Mac Mini before. The new ones are all aluminum frames. This one is the older plastic that's kind of painted aluminum. And so we have the what most computer companies call the motherboard. Apple calls it the logic board here, which is right underneath it. And then we got 2 sticks of RAM, which is pretty good. I wonder what they were doing, what they were putting in these in 2006. 1 gigabyte, so 2 gigs total RAM. Standard right now is 16. And we got our Bluetooth chip, a heat sink, which is just chock full. Heat sink is
they
just...
they had Bluetooth. I guess I did.
Yeah.
When did Bluetooth come out?
That came out probably in the early 2000s.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
so.
somewhere in there.
Well, let me qualify because let me look at this chip. Is it Qualcomm? Because the Bluetooth Wi-Fi chips are this one and the same now, and this one could only be Wi-Fi. So yeah, it would be right around that time. Assembled in China.
I'm thinking it didn't have Bluetooth, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is, and then you can see the fan here. That unfortunately, that's not going to spin again. So, that's the thing about these older computers. They had a lot of moving parts, comparatively, not a lot. But you got the fan in here, the new MacBook Airs, your iPad over there, our phones. There's obviously no fans in them.
Well, the reason the fan was there is because it gets so dang hot.
Exactly. Yeah, they
Right.
would get warm.
Right. You couldn't
So-
put your iPad on your lap, or it's like.
So what keeps it from getting warm now?
Well, efficiency is the number one thing, especially with Apple Silicon chips. If you've seen the movie, I think it's just called Jobs. Is it called Steve Jobs? I think there's two. I think there's two.
there
I
are
think,
2 movies. I think one of them is called Jobs.
I think that's the one with Ashton Kutcher. And so, Steve really wanted these like pretty difficult things for the engineers to achieve.
Right.
And to the point where they would say it's not possible, and then he would fire them and then find someone who said it could.
That's
right?
actually a true story.
Yes, probably several times over.
And he wasn't very nice about it when he did it.
Not historically, no. The legend is definitely a stern guy when it comes to progress. But yeah, so to answer your question though, Dixie, both the efficiency of them, the new silicon chips that you have in your computer and your phone that Apple makes are highly efficient because they're optimized for the software.
Right.
If you make an Intel chip and then you run Apple software on it, they can they can make it work, and they did make it work for 10 years. But if you actually make the hardware that runs your special software, you can integrate the two really deeply and make these like secure enclaves and stuff that make Touch ID and Face ID work without having to leave the device. And that makes everything run super efficiently, which is low heat and then also longer battery life.
Yeah.
Which I think we all experienced when we first picked up our first M-series laptop.
By the way,
yeah.
This iPad, sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Does it ever run out of battery?
No, it
She is
hasn't.
petting her iPad right now.
I plug it in once a day, but, for the most part, I can run it and have multiple, graphic games and everything.
Yeah.
I play in a lot of games. And yeah, the battery is amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, my laptop I think has the M1 in it, and so it's a couple generations back
Mine has
already.
an M1 as well.
And I think I got in 2020, so it's probably already 5 years old. I'll tell you, I'm always surprised when the battery does die because I can run around.
What is this?
I know. I'm like, wait,
Dead battery.
Yeah, what is that?
It's only
Dead
been
battery.
3 days.
Right. Well, no, even longer. So
It's really crazy.
over
isn't it?
this vacation, it dawned on me because I wasn't really coming into the office, so and I wasn't looking at it every day for sure, but 4 or 5 days later, you open it up, it still had some battery there if you're not looking at it, right?
Yeah,
Standby got really efficient in
Yeah.
particular.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm finding is with the strength and power of this new iPad, I'm using my MacBook Air a lot less.
I could see that.
Yeah, because it's basically the same thing,
That's
right?
cool.
Yeah, and it's a lot lighter.
Especially now with multi-window. Have you tinkered with that at all? That was the big change with iOS 26, which I want to talk about, Dixie, in terms of some upgrades maybe we can make to yours for the bubbles.
To the phone, yes.
the phone.
For the listeners who are wondering what that comment's about, a couple weeks ago, oh my goodness, longer than that, how time flies. Scott was on the show remind me your friend's name.
Jason.
In terms of the last guy that we had? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we were talking about optimizing apps and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so that Apple had just come out with their most recent iPhone iOS. And so we'd had some discussions on it, but I didn't have it yet. And so since then, they have forced the upgrade through. And so I have had the privilege to experience some of the things.
Good job, good
And
save.
some I like, but some I really don't. So,
Well,
and I was expressing this during the beginning of the show.
Well, I think that the whole context thing in the phone, it really changed a lot, and it's hard to figure. It's not intuitive to figure out how to get back to it.
Yes, it changed some. Yeah, it changed some stuff on the phone that my brain's not wanting to relearn.
What I wanted to do is I wanted to text somebody that I didn't usually, contact, and I didn't really want to call them, so I go into contacts, and there's no way to message from there. You can call someone,
Right.
So I'm like, no, this doesn't work for me. And my favorites went away.
Yeah, the favorites went away.
I loved the favorites.
Well,
yes.
let's look at both of these. So I'm going to have you guys both open up your iPhones, and if you want to
have
follow
my
along at
iPhone.
home. Oh, I have your iPhone. Yep,
That's all
sorry.
right.
So we'll follow along here with Dixie, and then
Okay.
do yours at the break, maybe Hilda. But if we go to and again, if you want to follow along at home, there's a few features that get released, and for my customers, especially the ones in our master program, I turn them off, because I just know they don't add value. A good example is on the MacBooks. If you click the desktop after macOS Sequoia, and you click anywhere on the screen where the Sequoia trees are, everything flies off the edge of the screen. I don't know if you've noticed that. You might not, because you actually use your three-finger
Yeah, I
swipe a
do,
lot
yeah.
to use Stage Manager. So that actually would not affect your workflow so much. But another one on the iPhones is the new phone call app. And so Apple, I give them credit because I've long said that the worst app on iPhone is the phone app. like the voicemail stuff. Do
I
you guys
thought you
do
said
that?
it was the mail app.
I like the mail app. Okay, it's better now. The phone app. Do you guys ever try to listen to messages and you put it to your ear and then it just pauses?
Yes, or you'll try, or I'll try to do the message on speaker, and it won't play it on
won't play
speaker.
it, right,
It'll
yeah.
only play it through the
I
headset.
have not been able to figure that out. I
Like,
don't know. It's the
why
weirdest
can't you
thing.
just play the voice
Phone app.
message? Yes, thank you. I
But
agree with that one.
they made another change that a lot of people are turning back, myself included. So if you open the phone app, you'll probably see a new layout, and your favorites have disappeared, as you guys have commented, and you can go back to the way it was. Doesn't always happen. It's happening for this feature, though. Click on the top right-hand corner once you launch the phone app. There's going to be 3 little lines, and then you should see an option at the very top between Unified and
Classic.
Classic. There it is.
Oh, yes, that is right. So the Unified is the new Fandangoed way, which I'm not so excited about.
What does Fandango mean? I only know it to
Other
be
than being
movie
a movie
tickets.
ticket thing,
Okay.
it means
I didn't know it
I
came
think
from somewhere else.
fancy. I don't know.
Fandango was actually a word
I think it
before
was
the movie
too.
thing. It's like, yeah, there's a
I've heard that
Fandango.
it's Fandango. But anyway, yeah. Or
And a
you can go
foobar.
back to the classic way that has.
Okay, I'm glad to know that. That makes me happy.
That makes me happy too.
I mean,
yay.
if someone's
Thank you,
brand new
Scott.
to the phone, they probably like, no big deal. But if you've used the phone for, I don't know, for how many years it's been out,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So I've got a question for you. How are your people feeling about that new feature, the screen calls feature that's now popping up under the
Sure,
phone section
yeah.
as well?
That's a great question. Most people have tried it. I would say, let me give you a percentage. 70% of the people who've tried it have ended up turning it back off. And you're talking about the one where you have a little receptionist, right, who answers it for you.
I
and
think that's what it
screens
is.
the
I
call.
haven't tried it, but there's when you upgrade the iOS and you go into the phone system, if you're in the new one, up at the top there's a green box. It's like try screening calls.
Yep.
Click here
I
or
saw
something.
that. I haven't done anything
And I've
with it.
ignored it because I'm like, I don't know what the heck that's going to do.
So I'll explain to you how it's supposed to work, and then I'll tell you an anecdote that I had from this morning because I recently turned it on. So it's in settings and then apps and then phone, and then about halfway down the page, there's an option to screen your calls in one of 3 ways. Number 1 is like no call screening, just like let all the calls through, like old school. The third one is if the contact is not in your contact list, like it's just an unknown number, it sends them straight to voicemail. Probably been familiar with those two. Now there's a middle option where a virtual receptionist will answer the phone and say, thank you for calling. Can we ask who you are and what the purpose of your call is? And you can see that conversation happen transcribed on your screen.
Even their responses.
Their responses. It'll transcribe what they say, and then it'll tell you, do you want to accept this call based upon this text message basically that you're looking at? Do you like the person's response? And you can answer it right then, or you can send them off to voicemail. So those are the two.
Can I just
two
hang up on them?
options. You,
I mean, it's like,
yeah, there is a
it's
decline.
like,
There's a decline
do you
option.
need new windows? It's
Right.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is like, is it going to help or do you have to just end up calling people back anyway, right?
Right.
And that's usually the way we frame it is have the skills to turn these things on and off,
Right.
and know where that you can find them, so that if you're in a season where you're putting on an addition to your house and you got contractors coming
yeah,
in through the
that's true.
gate,
Right.
You probably don't want to screen calls right now,
Right.
Not for February or
Right.
whatever. If you're expecting doctors' offices to call you, probably don't have that on. But if you're in a season where you don't have a lot going on and you just want to reduce the amount of spam that you're getting, good time to turn that on.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to take a break.
We do need to take a break.
Yes, so we will be right back. We're going to, thanks, these wonderful
Sponsors.
sponsors. For some reason, I was thinking of a different word. Yeah, that's not it. These wonderful sponsors that help keep the radio station on the air and give you programs like this. And if you would like to help us, we would always like your donations. We'll be right back.
KWVH 94.3 Wimberley Valley Radio.
Support comes from the Dent Shop. The Dent